Those who made the contact for the compact.
I'm of the contraction and the contract. Those who made the contact for the compact, and you will soon be awakening for the death of the light to put you to sleep for the rest for the preparation in the morning. So because you've been called to the youth and all to be forever the truth, and never the long will it be to the end of the love and the peace.
I'm of the contraction and the contract. Those who made the contact for the compact, and you will soon be awakening for the death of the light to put you to sleep for the rest for the preparation in the morning. So because you've been called to the youth and all to be forever. I'm of the contraction and the contract. Those who made the contact for the compact, and you will soon be awakening for the death of the light to put you to sleep for the rest for the preparation in the morning. So because you've been called to the youth and all to be forever the truth, and never the long will it be to the end of the love and the peace. Love and the opportunity to receive you here at that. The giving of what you have to be given for the love that we burn enough that we grow. Show, bestow, what we came here. I came to find the crossroads and living for the crossroads that we lost, we found, and never to lose again for what's gained. And your name to tame, to not to find the tame, but the name of the direction you have came for the absence. And you blame for the life that we flamed, enough for the faith that we reigned, and never the spoke to spake. Give the take, land and ban the sin, the defend, enough for the vengeance, and another for the noise, enough for the anointing, and enough for the accusing and the appointing. Like elbows and joints and burnt that for the vine we will be yearned. Earned the ignorance and never to learn, for the discern, for the confirmed tender, for the harder, for the rival, the dearly departed, for the kissing knife out and out and old, just to see the growth, for the look high and low, the fast and slow, for the flow, the turn. Affirmation, the informative, for the tentative, the force in nature to be can. And the power we amp, the conduit, for this to duplicate, for the crooked, the demons, and the demonstrator, the obtuse, and not the optical, and the winnings, and the one and eight, the one and wait. Wait to be scared enough for the call, evil enough for the evolve yourself for the problem solver, you're almighty for the all right, for the what's left to decide, for the apple cider, the vinegar, the forever, the fire upon the self for the side. Lowered upon the most high for the subtract, for the admiration over the missing, the admission for the missing, the mark for the closing the eyes of the dark to see the light for the arrow, the bullseye for the bullet, for the enemy, but within, without, for the withdrawn enough for the without the ink, the penetration, the right, that for the righteousness. Defend, define, and finish. Defend is the finest hours of the hearts of treasure. With the chest to protect the ribcage and the sacred heart, arts that in heaven and earth, and that the sail for the turf for the seas. And dirt on foot for the however, the hurt of no worth of the birth, and this to tell us for the soul for the sin. The evaluated for the sight, for the might be darker than life, for the proceed enough for the belief that so we be riding over the rotation of the Protestant for the protesting, and the right to that for the rate to feel the love, the hearts of this, the part for the bad blood, for the own for the lack, the forgiveness and the forces that we've been in. Burn for the will for the breath, and you stood there for the standing and landing over the lending hands as applause and plead the planting of the plants, and this is a pleasure to play. Apply, but enough for the pleas to please the pleasures and the measure the lesser. Leases of the marriages are divided, and the forces that couldn't take the contract signed to see. Seek to meet the strength, the weak, the wrong, to find the strong, the long, the shortcuts, and the length, the wide, divide, the high, divine, the bound, the pound. Defend the free throw for the beef, for the soft, and the teeth. Jerk the work, the worth, or find the meat, the greet, that this is only the pair for the pain to dissolve either. The problem root probation, the nations, the rations, and ratios. Razor to pat the back to raise the patios, and arbitrary for the penalty for the sentence to penetrate your free to penetrate the sign of treason, and enough for the reason the leaves, and enough for the trees to treat themselves, and enough for the themes. Been hence the found the flooded grounds are squared, enough for the rounded. The standard for the profound, the loss and the origin for the original for the humans and like the spiritual humanity for the vanity and the vain, the heart to blame, the aim. The clouds of the Lakers, or the ladder, the jacket, or the fame for the tent, the trend to the bend, for the hinder for the splinter hands, and those are the divine branches, statues of Christ, the prices that the tags is still the grabs. And those for the stagnant, but the sisters for the gift for bliss, this is a kiss and miss, this is a name, and this is addition, this is a meal for the daily good. Who read that for the word that is before that? For the life is the sin, except for the substance, and stands that for the dance, and you can find an advance of the sub, the basic grace, and find the beat, the drum, the music. Humdrum, psalms, and the Solomon for the sub, the basic, the grace, and beat the drum. Music that hum the song for distance, and necessity for the niece and the aunties, and prophecy for the not prophet, the efficiency for the great officials. Actions and feeds, and find the feeds and needs, and those of the deeds, and deeds, and celebrities, sleep, and the feeds, and double the flesh, the darkness, and the depth. Rise like healing in the soaring and the snoring. That was the one to find the drought, and just the thirst of those who find it. Die to dehydration for the elevating innovation you see. D the word for the deep, devil the devil, the saving of it. You can find a night for the Saturdays, find the sand candy for the devil, the Satan for the Saturn, enough for the Sabbath for the evening, strong enough for the days of the week to decrease. Decrease that season, the sun, the sea, the breathe, the find the feed, the breath, the life, for the air, for the longest, there for the rain, the king, to find the kingdoms and the humanity for the born, for the things in the body, for the body bouts, and you can drive the race. Or finish your lines to the ladies and the dimension for the rebuking of demons and demanding for the mending your bridges and knocking down your fences and segregated the reasons. Never no knows and neither boring yet entertaining for the understanding. Whether for the sending of within and for the evil, the concern of the grief, for the guilt, for the dim, for the sin, for the losing, the sight, for the reading, the being, the binding over the devil, to be the diversity, the university, the speaking, the rap, the beats, the worship, the lords and armies, and the beat, the bear, the arms to reach. We can teach one to learn.
I'm of the contraction and the contract. Those who made the contact for the compact, and you will soon be awakening for the death of the light to put you to sleep for the rest for the preparation in the morning. So because you've been called to the youth and all to be forever the truth, and never the long will it be to the end of the love and the peace. Love and the opportunity to receive you here at that. The giving of what you have to be given for the love that we burn enough that we grow. Show, bestow, what we came here. I came to find the crossroads and living for the crossroads that we love. I'm of the contraction and the contract. Those that made the contact for the compact, and you will soon be awakening for the death of light to put you to sleep with the rest for the preparation of the morning. So because you can cause of the youth and all to be forever the truth, and never the long for the weak, the end for the love and the peace. Love and the opportunity to receive you here at that, for the giving of what you have to being given, for the love that we burn, enough of the we grow, show, bestow, what we came here, I came to find the crossroads, and living for the crossroads that we lost, and we found, and never to lose again for what's gained. And your name to tame, to not to find the tame, but the name for the direction you have came for the absence, and your blame for the life that we flamed, enough for the faith that we reigned, enough for the spoke to spake, give the take, land the band, the sin, the defend, enough for the vengeance, and another for the annoyance, enough for the anointing, and enough for the accusing and the pointing, like elbows and joints, and burnt that for the vine we will be yearn. Earned the ignorance and never to learn, for the discern, for the confirmed tender, for the harder, for the rival, the dearly departed, for the kissing not out and out and old, and just to see the growth, for the look high, the low, the fast, the slow, for the flow, the turn. Affirmation, the informative, for the tentative, the force in nature to be camp. And the power we amp the conduit, for this to duplicate, for the crooked, the demons, and the demonstrator, the obtuse, and not the optical, and the wings, and the one, and eight, the one, the wait. Wait to be scared enough for the call evil, enough for the evolve yourself for the problem solver, you're almighty, for the all right, for the what's left to decide, for the apple cider, the vinegar, for the ever divided upon the self of the side. Lowered upon the most high, for the subtract, for the admiration, for the missing, and admission for the missing, the mark, for the closing the eyes of the dark to see the light, for the arrow, the bullseye, for the bully, for the enemy, for within, without, for the withdrawn, enough for the without, the ink, the penetration, the right, that for the righteousness, defend, define, and finish. The finest of the finest hours of the hearts of treasure, with the chest to protect the ribcage and the sacred heart, arch, that in heaven and earth, and not the sail for the turf for the seas. And dirt on foot for the however, for the hurt and no worth of the birth, and this to tell us for the soul for the sin. The evaluated with the sight for the might be darker than light, for the proceed enough for the believe that so we be riding over the rotation of the Protestant for the protesting, and the right to that for the rate to feel the love, the hearts of this, the part for the bad blood, for the bound for the lack, for the forgiveness and the forces that we have been in. Burn for the wood, for the breath, and you stood there for the standing and landing over the lending hands and applause, the plea, the plan, and planting of the plants, and this is a pleasure to play. Apply, but enough for the please to please the pleasures and the measure the lesser. Leases of the marriages are divided, and divorces that couldn't take the contract signed to see. Seek to meet the strength, the weak, the wrong, to find the strong, the long, the shortcuts of the length, the wide, the wide, the high, the blind, the bound, the pound, the friend, the free throw for the beef, for the soft, and the teeth. Jerk the work, the worth, to find the meat, the greed, the discipline, the pair for the pain, the dissolve, the problem, the reprobation, the nations, the rations, and ratios. Raise the path the back to raise the page of patios, and arbitrary for the penalty for the sentence of the penetration, free to penetrate the design of trees, and enough for the reason the leaves, and enough for the trees to treat themselves, and enough for the themes. Been hence and found the flood of grounds are squared, enough for the rounded. The standard for the profound, the loss and the origin, for the original for the humans, and like the spiritual humanity, for the vanity and the vain, the heart to blame, the aim. The clouds of the Lakers, or the ladder, the jagged, for the fame to the tan, to the trend, to the bend, for the hinder, for the splinter hands, and those will divine the branches, statues of Christ, the prices that the tags are still the grabs. And those for the stagnant, but the sisters for the gift of bliss, this is a kiss and miss, this is named, and this is addition, this is a meal for the daily bread. Who read that for the word, before that for the life is sustained, except for the substance, and stands that for the dance, and you can find an advance of the sub, the basic grace, and find the beat, the drum, the music, humdrum, psalms, and the Solomon for the sub, the basic, this is grace, the beat, the drum. Music, the hum, the song, for this is necessity for the niece and aunties, and prophecy for the not prophet, the defenses, for the greed, the officials. Actions and fees, and find the feeds and needs of those who fed the deeds, and Jesus left us asleep, and the fees, and with the fled, the darkness, and the depth. Rise like healing and the soaring, and snoring. That was the one to find the drought, and just the thirst of those who find the die, the dehydration for the elevated the nation you see. See the bird for the diva, the devil, the devil, the lady, the savior. You can find the night for the Saturday, the storm, the Santana for the dope, the Satan for the Sabbath, enough for the Sabbath for the evening, strong enough for the days of the week, the decrease. Decrease that season, the sun, the sea, the breathe, the find the feet, the heat, the breath of life, for the air, for the monkeys, there for the rain, the king, to find the kingdoms and the humanity for the born, now, the things in their body for the body blast, and you can try to raise. Finish the lines of the lineage and the demons that for the people the demons and demanded for the mending your bridges and knocking down your fences and segregated the reasons. Never no knows and neither boring yet entertaining for the understand. But for the sending of within and for the evil, for the concern of the grief, for the guilt, for the dim of the sin, for the losing the sight, for the ridding of being the binding over the devil, the diversity, the university, we speak the rap, the beats of worship, the lords and armies, and the bear the arms of each. We can teach them, teach one to learn.
What you find confusion could be the truth. This was time for now for you could never see. The syntax and ever for the stuttering of a sound for the point of your destiny. Created yourself for this to be the poem for the namesake. For this expansion your idea for the genealogy. For the maybe the ideology for the difficulty, but never there for the find easier to access. Like let's suppose that this attention in unison sound for this to be the typo for the which you find for the reason. You get attention of your composing yourself. Whether you find it challenging to find yourself in the limit of legibility for that you can increase yourself with the proximate vision of the art. As a walking, this will be the person, a human and ever embodied to the spirit. Stitching myself together for the illuminating yourself, for the antidote, for this is philosophical, for the way to enter yourself, and I could be used that to preserve yourself, for the specimen under the microscope, for the get the micro, the inward outward, the romantic, for the ways to find yourself, for the theology, for the place in the subliminal, whether you can find an acquired taste of this be the dialogue, and I never find it for the intellectual enough to be the sentence. I sent that for the much, for the weather, for the thing, for this to be the quotation enough for the how to find it justice, and the justification for whether you're not you've been cut down for the reassembling into something sterilized, and every intellectual, for the portrait of self. Instinct in the moment for the mind, for the discipline referring to the lips of the discipline form. For this is the coordinates of the find study, for the this to be the Bible, for the consistent yourself for the living your language, and this the principle of the words of the body in the text. Find that for the hinging and form, the content for the relation between yourself and this relationships, and that for the be intimate. The way at this, or perhaps that for the list of the process, so this to be the aesthetic for the intuitive, and enough for the disarrange of your part, and enough for the be the coherent words, function in love. You only came from sit the suit one, for this to be the task to see, for this to be the war for the marriage, or tired of that for the grin for the face of the stern eyes, and this to be beyond yourself, for the lesser so there never eyes are seen. Nor do you believe everything that I can find just among yourself, and this lesson literary for the survival for the lies and among him, for the morning side that you can find the heights in July, and never to find a violent strain for the melancholy, for this to be the grant you the identity, to have peace inside of your soul. One of those grants you for the forecasting and the future, for the wrench yourself for the tongue and the mouth, for the change yourself for the bird precisely. Enough that been given this gift, for the goddess is generous enough for this way, for the avoiding danger, for the avoiding of fear, for the avoiding excitement, for the never the trigger yourself, prominent enough for the resisting, you're resting, is able to tell that you place it, avoiding the fight. Everything written enough for the beat lockable, that you can avoid the little boy mentor or maturity, for the wild intently, for the studying of the space between yourself, for the shorter blazing, this is patiently looking over the tales and the signs to find out even when you realize nothing less, and this will be the distance, and that for the challenge, and this will be the guide for the cursing, and the live of the manners and everything, convenient enough for the meanwhile. Take the form of smile for this, and rapid enough for the girl by the gates, and this another for the taking shape of your eagle enough for the contact your wings. Finer things and things you like to find, and this is the man, the song for the this is the demon inside of each one of us, and the history of the demons in the moment, for the this is hated after the word, for the long live for the spoken of the gift for the gods, and yes, continue living inside of us, and never the wealth for the punishment, and never had that. Notice the casualty taking itself for the shape of the one of the knowledge to transpose. It would be less than a song, less than a voice, more than you can ever imagine, a figure you feel something. What's living upon us is always been. You notice that from never inherited mind, intelligent son, insinuating you never had that ability, but whether or not you missed the market. The market is this will be the path for the gospel, enough for the apostle that you can have the Peter, Tom, blind Thomas, and this is all. Find the compass, find Mary Magdalene. You will never understand the understanding of this will be the content. This is find yourself an intuition, you never define the three. By the number to the Trinity for the Holy Ghost and the Father and the Son. The worshiping and being married to one, and the union, and the grace. You look at my face and you can see my heart. My heart on my face and you can tell us apart. Apart that will never be. A part of destiny we don't be. The acronyms for you, me, destiny.
Looking at the smoke screen fire. Woman and man, but a man and a woman. You can have the singing of the stone and after the vista for the ending of a cliff. Looking at the smoke screen fire. Woman and man, but a man and a woman. You can have the singing of the stone and after the vista for the ending of a cliff with the one lives. Looking at the smoke screen fire. Woman and man, but a man and a woman. You can have the singing of the stone and after the vista for the ending of a cliff with the one lives. Pay attention to night forward night. Anything would have happened after behind which to explain. The air of the darkness and illumination of the past. You can disembody the utterance and find behind that empty in the core. For this to say what we answer, say for the table, for the bed, for the illusion of the speech, and this is something true. But you routed up and find a way for to bring yourself for the stranger, for the public, and the outpost, and some feeling of the kind of strangeness, and for the review, for the interplanetary energy, and your sign is subtractive enough for the undulated. Made the crash, listen, receive, for the flamingo, to stand like a symbol for this solitary, the big blazing, the grammar, postcard, you find the poem, and understand for the worth nothing. Anybody but everybody for the good work to turn against you to the unless you violate this poetry. Now pour abundant truth and consider the illusion of richness inside of you. For the philosophy, for the glimmer, for the positive, for the negative, for the prejudice, for the predisposed to this and criticism. You take that out of feminism. Or maybe I'll just recognize my feminism for the certain critics for the philosophy, for the kind of shredded in the thought for the woman, generating the language of the practice that can interpret the excuses of the masculine. You find yourself in this feminism, limited critically, you find the phrase, encompass yourself with the diverse approach of this defies the explanation of yourself because you the movement to spawn upon it from this criticism for the refusing of the embrace the central body of the Savior, super for all the anthem. Critics should not look for the mother for the discipline on the womb, for this evolved after the several sources. The voices for the cycle of lives, it's a destruction of the film. For the importance of the analytical tools, you find the acting, find the series, and it's a cool approach. Many moves, you find the garden after the waking up of all the sentences, and you find that the sentences going and after that brain, all this obedient, although I can find the demand for sports and the limit to complete yourself. And almost son of the mighty for the opposites, and you can find what's in the enemy. To yourself.
You say it's a war.
It's not an injustice when you taught that person. It's that recognition you have that's resistance. The anger for the violence, you can find it in between. Just be the pole to the bipolar, for the erotic and enough of the rereading yourself. This is the attempt after the reading of what you find in life. This is trying to find it. What it fixed to be, there's another theory. Effectively apply yourself in the method of reading, closing yourself in the chapter of the bookmark, the whole you open yourself in this command. Find yourself in need of the family, find the mission, use this is the limits of the prosperous, and the company mission, you have that. After reading enough of the value of the industry, to find shifting away from production, yourself just became shifting and understanding the relationship to the find yourself using inferior enough to the subordination of the yourself. God's even child enough to the performance of my duty for the discipline of the popularity, you will never define the skill of the method of proof. Define it, administer the method of principle yourself and afterwards proceed. Listen to the point of the song. Never expose yourself to the definitions of what you seem so important enough for the trait. I call what? Fine ignorance, late enough for the surrounding this narrative for the fundamental this differentiations this is symmetry. The type of simplification you can find a filter to argue yourself with the words that conflicted enough of the image yourself with the never define the song that would understand the comprehension. Or romantic enough of the poem for the stems of one sentence and confusion and never seem to assume for the instant for the general I can find an idea for the music of the song exit. Total enough for the hope for the inevitable effect you can try to melt yourself with the different audiences with the divine single volume to understand. It's for you. Footnotes that make you wonder for the self and never the mind without ever the hand for the word. The mouth, the man, cozy, had reason. For the doubt, the man. I will lift my eyes into the hills and come from the hill. I will not suffer the foot to be moved if you can keep me from my sleep. Now the light shade on the right hand of me is the spirit. I'm going out and coming from this time forth and living evermore. And I could be part of who I am. Guide me through the valley of darkness. I should fear none. You are my Lord, my God's Son. Keep me near you. Keep me in you. Keep me with you. With you. Keep me. I'm not done yet. The water is sunk down low. It's due to rise and arisen to the point for the pale ground haven. If this is shrunk so far enough within itself, it becomes that. What's the moist and the strip of the water can catch a cloud of ash. Regain those colors of the identical. So you find out of anything ever again for the street for the engine. You find what's working the pedals of the people. You can find the fragile heart. This will be the color for the eye for the each step. Everyone put together for the never
infinite wisdom. I hope all spiritualism. This divine grave, this never die, but the immortality for the constants of the left, if you can have that rich phase in the heart, catching that light for the lake. Your bird in a circle. Have that, what you call worthy. Now we know you needed that for good fortune. The circle to bear the dirt, for this the grass, the seeds, and one jet of the air. It's dry, it spills off, but just enough to snow. It's the scene of that perch in the ash of the black release, and you can feel enough of the standing of the black jack, and you have that creature. And really the design. Glue with the strike, this is strike opposed ghost with wings, and you can have the mill gone now, for this is close enough for the hell and laying over circle with the clear space. And this is looking too perfectly enough for the ornament that you can crave. Things that make it fool to me.